Developing right now on Morning News Now, devastation across Tennessee after a weekend of wild weather, including a series of tornadoes. That same storm system now on the move, stretching from New England to the Carolinas and threatening millions of people with heavy rain, flash flooding, and dangerous wind. We are tracking it all before you head out the door. Also this morning, an 11th hour reversal from Donald Trump, the former president now saying he won't testify in his civil fraud trial today as he had planned. What's behind the decision and how it could impact his case. Plus, Israel's all-out assault on Gaza intensifying once again this morning. The Israeli military now warning civilians to flee the south, an area once believed to be safe. This, as UN officials warn, the humanitarian crisis has gone from bad to worse, with conditions deteriorating every day. We'll bring you the latest. And it's Showtime time in Los Angeles. That's right, MLB superstars going to the Dodgers on a historic $700 million deal. We'll break down the unprecedented agreement and how it could change the game for good.
$700 million.
Insane.
It's incredible.
It really is. Some of these athlete contracts are just really something else.
They're amazing. We're going to delve into it a little more. There's some details in the contract that are interesting. Good morning. Good to have you with, besides the $700 million. I'm Joe Fryer. Good to have you with us on this Monday.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to begin this morning with those devastating storms in Tennessee. At least 6 people were killed, including 2 children, after multiple tornadoes ripped through the state.
More than 60 people were hurt in the storms, which tossed cars, down trees, and ripped apart homes. Take a look at this video. You can see the moment a twister caused an explosion, lighting up the night sky. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee toured the damage in hard-hit Madison, that's just outside of Nashville. Despite the destruction, he said that he is inspired by how the community is rallying together.
I would say to the victims that there is hope, because the people around you that live in this community, that live in this state, they love you, they care about you. And while we cannot erase the pain and the difficulty and the heartbreak of what's happened to you, we can come alongside you. And that's what we implore Tennesseans to do, and we're watching it happen even today. So for me, there's great hope in that, watching Tennesseans be Tennesseans when some of their neighbors have had the worst days of their life.
In the aftermath of the storm, survivors are sharing their stories, including one woman who says the tornado hit so fast she barely had time to react.
Picked me up. I was trying to go in the closet when I got that alert. I just remember opening the closet door and just turning around. The wind just took me, and I just remember waking up on this side of my house looking for my home, and then I saw my children over there, and my husband was in the debris back there. I went back barefooted. I didn't have on any clothing, hardly, just a robe, and helped him up and across the street. So yeah, it's pretty quick.
Now let's bring in meteorologist Michelle Grossman for a look at where that line of storms is now and the rest of your Morning News Now weather.
Hey there, Michelle. Good morning.
Hey there, guys. Great to see you. And it was a tough weekend. We had that strong cold front move through. We're still seeing impacts this morning, but things are improving, and we're going to be much quieter over the next several hours. We're seeing this cold front on the move, and it's moving quickly. So this is what it looks like on radar right now. We have some lake effect snow showers coming in. That's showing us that we have that cold air working behind this cold front. And we're going to see temperatures 20 degrees below what we saw yesterday in many spots, and actually below average. In terms of the precipitation, we're still looking at very heavy rain in spots. Where you see those darker colors, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, that's where we're seeing the heaviest rain falling. But notice it's now to the northeast and also New England. On the backside of this, we're seeing some snow coming in. Even in the Philadelphia suburbs, we're seeing that snow falling because that cold air is making that changeover to snow. Now, in terms of alerts, we have a lot of them. We have winter weather alerts. We have winter weather advisories. The winter storm warning, that is in the pink, and that's where we're going to see heavy, wet snow in portions of upstate New York into New England. We could see nearly a foot of snow in portions of the highest elevations of Maine. That would be close to the Canadian border. We're also looking at flood warnings, flood watches. Where you see this red here, that is a flood warning. That means flooding is happening now or it's imminent. So including Boston, Hartford, just north of Portland into Bangor, telling us that we have a really tough commute for many of us as we start out this Monday morning. But again, by later on this afternoon, the evening commute looking so much better. We are expecting snow in portions of upstate New York, into parts of northern New England, and also along the Appalachians. We're going to see some snow as well. We have seen some snow already. In terms of the rainfall, excessive rainfall is likely in parts of northern New England, specifically into Maine, especially in the northern part of Maine, where you see this darker blue here. That is a higher risk of seeing some flash flooding. So we're going to see 1 to 2 inches of rain per hour. That's a lot of rain in a short amount of time. On top of that, that's going to melt some snow. So that's why we're expecting some flooding. Here are some totals as we go throughout the rest of the day. Notice not a whole lot more rain expecting in most parts of New England. But once we get close to the northern parts of Maine, the coastal parts of Maine, we're looking at some heavy rain. So we could see 1 to 2 inches there, even 3 if we see some convective bands setting up. And then in addition to that, we're looking at really windy conditions. Winds are going to gust 60 to 70 miles per hour. That's going to cause some power outages. In addition to that, really cold air that's in place. On the backside of this, where we're seeing that cold air, we're looking at the snow falling in. Again, we could see up to a foot of snow. That would be in the higher elevations of Maine. But some spots where we see the winter weather advisory, we could see a few inches as well. Windy. It's going to be very, very windy as this storm continues to strengthen that area of low pressure in parts of northern Maine and northern New England. So we're going to see winds gusting up to 61 miles per hour in Nantucket. So along the Cape into Long Island, New England, even higher than that, right along the coastal parts of Maine, we could see winds gusting up to 70 miles per hour. Also could see an inundation of water. That's sort of where you see that wall of water going over dry land. So if you live along these coastal areas, you know where you are. You want to move those cars back, get them to dry land so we don't see any damage to the cars. This system will finally depart. It's departing quickly at this hour. We're going to see much quieter conditions as we go throughout the next couple of hours, especially into the afternoon, especially into the evening hours as well. So for the rest of the country, we're looking good, actually, above normal. In the middle of the country, from the central plains to the southern plains, temperatures in the 50s and 60s. It's a big area of high pressure. That's good news. And that's going to bring a pretty nice day. It's going to be chilly in the northern plains, but we're going to be dry there. Then our next weather system is in the west. We're going to look at snow and wind and rain in portions of the Intermountain West. Where you see the green, that is the rain falling. That would be in the lower elevations. The higher elevation, the mountain snow, is where you see the blue. We're going to continue to watch this as it moves across the country. So this is going to be our next weather maker as it moves across the country. The Southwest looking good today with some sunshine as well. Then as we near Wednesday, December warmth in portions of the Intermountain West into the northern plains. Although if you look at those numbers, it feels kind of chilly to me. But for that area, looking good. The Pacific Northwest, we are looking at some rain falling on Wednesday. Not a whole lot, but still looking at some showers. Still dry in the Southwest with temperatures in the 70s. And there in the South Central states, we're looking at temperatures in the Four Corners as well. Looking at some rain falling throughout the Rockies. Looking at some lower elevation rain in portions of the South Central states into the Central states. Sunny and mild. This is good news throughout the Carolinas into the Northeast. Parts of New England could see a little lake effect snow in parts of New England, but for the most part, we're going to be drier as we near Wednesday. And then as we get towards Friday, scattered snow showers throughout the Intermountain West. We're going to be pretty soggy throughout the South Central states and the Gulf Coast states. You're going to need your umbrellas there. Temperatures are going to be held down too because of that rain. We're looking at temperatures in the 40s and 50s. And finally, on a Friday, we are looking at warm sunshine in portions of the Northeast and parts of New England. So something to look forward to. Back to you guys.
We will take that. All right,
exactly.
Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, the ongoing $250 million civil fraud trial here in New York against former President Trump is heading into its final week. Trump was expected to take the stand today in his own defense, but in a dramatic reversal, he has decided not to testify.
Trump made that announcement on social media Sunday. He said he had nothing more to say and once again called the case a witch hunt. Trump is accused of inflating the values of his assets and properties to his advantage. He has denied any wrongdoing.
For the latest, let's bring in NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard and NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalas. Good morning to both of you. Vaughn, we'll get started with you. So last month, Trump was very combative when he was grilled on the stand by the New York Attorney General's office. Do we think, knowing how that kind of played out, that could have played a role in his decision not to testify in his own defense? And if so, why the flip-flop?
Right, Savannah. Last month, it was 3.5 hours that he testified on the stand. But in that particular testimony, he was answering the questions from the New York Attorney General's office, prosecutors here. In this scenario, if he had gone to the courthouse today, he would have been answering questions from his own defense lawyers. And the thought was that this would be an opportunity for him to speak for potentially several hours about the history of the company and the accounting of it. But ultimately, Donald Trump in that post last night saying, I have very successfully and conclusively testified in the corrupt Biden-directed New York State Attorney General's rigged trial against me, suggesting that he has already left everything that he has to say inside of that courtroom and that this trial is already going in the direction against him. Of course, one of the claims of repeated fraud has already been found. He's been found liable for from the judge. The judge, it's up to him to determine whether he is liable for 6 other claims as well.
Danny, last week we saw Eric Trump back out of testifying, now his dad. What do you make of this strategy here?
When you're defending a case, you line up all your witnesses, you transport them there, you have them all ready to go, but you have to make snap decisions as the case nears its end. So I expect that the defense team got in a room and they said, okay, here's who we have left, including Trump. Do we need him? Did we get this piece in? Did we get this fact in? Do we need this piece of evidence? Because from there, especially if you're calling your client, you're engaging in a balancing test. What is the risk of putting him on the stand, and what is the benefit? And if at this stage they conclude that, you know, we put him on the list just in case, but we've gotten everything in that we need, we don't need to put him on the stand. I do that all the time. I may have a list of a dozen more people I could call, but you know what? Go on home. We're not going to need you. And I wait till the very last minute to make that decision, because you never want to be caught unprepared and unable to call witnesses if you need them. That is sort of that's the motivating incentive. It's terror. It's, geez, what if it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it when it comes to witnesses. So this may just be a decision at the end of the case. Hey, we thought we would call them. We don't need them.
Danny, last week, one of the other people that we saw take the stand was this accounting professor that was hired by Trump's team. He said that the attorney general's sort of calculations here, case about fraud, had no merit based on looking at things. Walk us through that. I mean, tell us both sides of this and then what it is that is indicating that to him.
Probably the defense's most compelling witness. And I think what people are seeing is this is a great example of how a case can turn into battle of the experts. And I don't want to sound jaded, but no matter what the issue is, much as we think of science as this cold, unyielding study, you can find an expert in virtually any industry, any area, and then you can go find another expert and have them testify diametrically opposed to each other, if you pay them enough. I'm not saying that they color their testimony, but these experts are expensive, and they're expensive for a reason. They can turn the tide of a case. Even if the defense in this case is not looking so good, if that expert was compelling enough, that can go a long way. Even if your case is overall not so strong, an expert that overpowers the government's expert can change the tide.
Let's look ahead here, Vaughn. The trial resumes tomorrow. Closing arguments, so not expected to take place till a month from today, January 11th. What can we expect now in these final stages of the trial?
Right. Trial will come back in tomorrow, now that Donald Trump is not testifying here. And that very expert, that accounting expert from NYU, will be taking the stand, but this time answering questions from the New York Attorney General's office. We then expect 2 rebuttal witnesses to come forward from the New York Attorney General's offices before trial all becomes to a close here this week. And then on January 5th is when both sides have to file their respective reports with the judge as to why they believe each of these claims should be ruled in their favor. And then come January 11th is when we expect closing arguments. Of course, the timing of this is all to note. January 15th is the Iowa caucus, the first nominating state in which voters will have the chance to pick their candidate in the Republican primary for the 2024 presidency. But then we will not expect for at least several more weeks there, ultimately, the decision of the judge to come forward. So we're looking early 2024 for this final ruling to come forward.
All right, Vaughn and Danny, thank you both very much.
Turn our attention now to the Middle East, where Israeli warplanes are pounding the Gaza Strip again this morning.
On the ground, Israeli troops are focusing their fire on the southern city of Han Yunis. UN officials say the city is on the verge of collapse. The Israeli Defense Forces have been telling Palestinians who fled from the north to this area to go even farther south. The violence comes amid a renewed push for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. The United Nations General Assembly is expected to vote tomorrow on a resolution demanding an end to hostilities. But this is just days after the United States vetoed a similar Security Council measure. The chief of the UN Aid Agency for Palestinians called the situation in Gaza, quote, the worst he'd ever seen.
We definitely have failed the Palestinians so far. And the dehumanization dimension is a worrying trend, because this has made the unbearable bearable for the international community, has made the unbearable we see continuously on the news bearable again.
NBC News correspondent Hala Grani joins us now from Tel Aviv. Hala, let's start with the fighting in Gaza. What are we seeing this morning?
Well, we're seeing a deeper offensive by the Israeli military. You mentioned Khan Yunis. This is the largest city in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. And the IDF, the Israeli military, is asking Gaza residents to evacuate large parts of Khan Yunis. And many of our viewers will remember that that's where the Israeli military and the government told Gazans to evacuate to for safety. So they're being pushed into smaller and smaller enclaves, including Rafah, right near the Egyptian border. And we're seeing this infrastructure there, hospitals, a humanitarian network as well, under deep strain as the IDF continues to hit targets both in the south, hundreds every day, as well as in the north, the northern part of the Gaza Strip, where the Israeli military says it is fighting Hamas militants.
So what is the latest, by the way, on the hostage situation? What are we hearing on efforts to try and rekindle that?
Well, I've been in touch with my Qatari contacts. Of course, Qatar has been an important mediator in these hostage negotiations. They have close political ties with Hamas. They have been also a funder of Hamas over many years. And if I'm being completely honest with you, we're really not hearing much. There is not a lot of hope right now that these negotiations will be rekindled. And we're really at a stage where it seems as though the talks have broken down. Last week, Israel pulled its mediators from Doha in Qatar. And even though there appear to be some negotiations happening really through Qatar remotely, there isn't much hope that in the immediate future anything will come out of any talks.
Hala, I want to ask you about what we just mentioned a moment ago, which is the Biden administration coming under criticism this weekend. Two things here. Videoing a Security Council resolution on Friday that called for an immediate ceasefire, also approving a $106 million sale of emergency arms to Israel. How is Washington justifying these decisions, and is it concerned about appearing increasingly isolated on these issues on the world stage?
Well, I can give you the Arab world reaction. I mean, some of the news headlines I've been reading from across the Middle East are essentially conflating the U.S. with Israel and its policy in Gaza. They are dismayed and they are disappointed in the American veto, although it has to be said it was expected that the U.S. would use its veto within the Security Council to that UAE-sponsored resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire. This is how Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, justified the U.S.'s move yesterday.
There needs to be a premium put on protecting civilians and making sure that humanitarian assistance can get to everyone who needs it. And as I said, I think the intent is there, but the results are not always manifesting themselves. We have to make sure that we're on the path to a durable and sustainable peace. From our perspective, I think from the perspective of many around the world, that has to lead to a Palestinian state. We're not going to have durable peace. We're not going to have durable security for Israel unless and until Palestinian political aspirations are met.
So this has been the call by the U.S., not necessarily based on what's happening on the ground, a call heeded by the Netanyahu government.
So, Hala, we also got a fresh warning from the World Health Organization about the health system in Gaza. We understand it's also adopted a resolution calling for immediate and unimpeded humanitarian access. What more can you tell us about that and the significance of it?
Well, we've been monitoring the situation in Gaza, as many of our viewers and you know. We are not given access to Gaza either by the Israeli authorities or, it has to be said, by the Egyptian authorities in the south. So we're relying on information from our very courageous teams on the ground that are sending video and information back to us. And what's happening really is it's difficult to overstate. In the north, the medical system has collapsed. In the south, it is under tremendous pressure. And some of what we're hearing is that just what should be, benign conditions are going untreated. Colds, skin conditions, diarrhea, chest infections that are turning into pneumonia. We were able to receive video from one of our NBC crew on the ground of a mother who is caring for a child with special needs, and she's explaining how difficult it is to get just basic care for her son. Take a look.
My son's condition, diarrhea and stomach poisoning, flu-like symptoms because of the cold, as you can see. We don't have shelter nor life. We came from Gaza. We are looking for medication we can't find. I mean, my son needs medication, injections. We can't find treatment.
Right. Well, these are stories we're hearing over and over again every single day coming from people in Gaza. As I mentioned, pushed into a smaller and smaller enclave almost every day. Savannah and Joe?
Hala, also before we let you go, we understand Palestinians in the occupied West Bank are striking today in this show of solidarity with Gaza. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Right, so they are striking public services, transport, public employees, employees of municipalities, and the government of the Palestinian Authority. And their call is for strikes outside of the region. We'll see if those calls are heeded, if they yield to anything tangible on the ground. But essentially, they are calling today, December 11th, a call for action, a call to strike against the Israeli military offensive in Gaza, and also what they see as increasing violence against Palestinians in the West Bank, both by settlers and the Israeli military. We've seen much more of that just in the last few weeks as well. Back to you.
All right. Hala, thank you so much for your reporting this morning. We appreciate it.
University of Pennsylvania President Liz McGill resigned this Saturday following a wave of criticism for her congressional testimony on campus anti-Semitism.
Her resignation prompted New York Representative Elise Stefanik, who went viral for her questioning in that congressional hearing, to post this on X: 1 down, 2 to go. The two others she's referring to are MIT President Sally Kornbluth and Harvard's President Dr. Claudine Gay, who's also now facing a wave of criticism and growing calls to step down.
NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton joins us with the latest here. Hi, Antonia. Good morning. So first, just walk us through the backlash that we saw after that hearing.
Good morning, guys. Yes, so to catch you up, this all stems to last week's hearing at which these three university leaders were pressed for about 6 hours. But really what happened is these 30 to 90-second exchanges went viral, in which you see Representative Elise Stefanik, a Republican from New York, pressing the three of them about whether calls for genocide against Jewish students on campus would amount to any kind of action, whether it violated codes of conduct. And what you saw with these three leaders, in the view of many people, kind of take an evasive or a roundabout way of answering the question, focused more on sort of how the code of conduct would look at these things and not making very clear their stance on these calls or, you know, their own beliefs about the experiences of Jewish students on campus. And so you saw lawmakers hammer them there. And then there was an immense reaction across the country. I mean, dozens of lawmakers now calling for these these other two to resign, including Claudine Gay, but also multi-million-dollar mega donors pushing now for these university leaders to step down. And they show no signs, at least as of now, of slowing down, guys.
And ultimately, they're the ones who might have the most power here in what happens. So with this focus now on Harvard's president, what might we expect? How is she responding? Is this similar, or could it be different from what we saw in Pennsylvania?
It could be different. What we're seeing so far is that she has been apologetic. She's spoken with students at the Crimson, which is Harvard's campus newspaper, and apologized and made clear that she denounces any calls for genocide, that she's seeking to support Jewish students on campus. But what we're hearing from some of the students who I've spoken to is that there is still dismay at the words used and her inability to make that clearer in front of our nation's leaders, but also a desire to not allow that kind of political and moneyed influence on campus. So people feel a bit torn on this. I want you to take a listen, though, to the actual exchange that happened last week.
Anti-Semitic rhetoric, when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign.
So you can see there this sort of indirectness in which those exchanges went around and around, and they were pretty similar for the three university presidents. What we're seeing in the case of Claudine Gay is that Hundreds of faculty are signing letters right now that are being delivered to the Harvard Corporation, the all-powerful governing body, resisting this outside influence and asking them to not take the step of having her resign. And so whether those faculty members, whether some of the students who have spoken up have any impact remains to be seen. But as of right now, we're not seeing signs that Claudine Gay is stepping down anytime soon.
All right, Antonia Hilton, thank you very much for your reporting here, getting us up to speed.
Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, a TikTok takeover, the $1.5 billion deal that could expand the social media giant's online retail reach.
Up first, though, after the break, ex-Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani set to go to trial in a defamation lawsuit involving 2 Georgia election workers. We will break down the charges against him ahead of today's hearing. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Today in Washington, Rudy Giuliani is set to face a jury trial over his work in pushing baseless claims about the 2020 election for his then client, former President Trump.
Before the jury is a single issue. How much does Giuliani have to pay 2 election workers he was found to be liable for defaming? He accused them without evidence of manipulating ballots during the election count in Georgia.
For more on this, we're joined by NBC News Justice reporter Ryan Riley. He is also the author of Sedition Hunters, How January 6th Broke the Justice System. Ryan, good to have you with us. First of all, just bring us up to speed on this case and how we even got here.
Yeah, so this all started at the end of 2021 after Rudy Giuliani made these false claims about these 2 election workers. Some of it was pretty repugnant in terms of he actually accused them at one point of handing around a USB drive as though it were a vial of heroin. And as it turned out, they were just handing each other ginger mints. So really innocent behavior. They were volunteering for this duty that's really important, obviously, to American democracy, and really had their lives shattered by this and got a lot of threats and phone calls, and they both sort of testified before the January 6th committee about the impact, the devastating impact that this had on their lives. Rudy Giuliani had not cooperated with this process sort of all throughout, so he sort of blew off all of the discovery requests that were coming in and not turning over the information that that these 2 plaintiffs were entitled to help them build their case. And because of the way that he sort of handled this case, he ultimately was found the judge issued sanctions, finding him liable for these false claims against these 2 women. So, really the only issue on the table now is exactly how much Rudy Giuliani is going to have to pay. Ultimately, at the end of this, the plaintiffs here are seeking millions of dollars because of the impact that this had on their lives.
Ryan, Giuliani has already found himself in some hot water with the federal judge in this case. Last week, he skipped out on a pretrial hearing. But then also before that, the judge had blasted Giuliani for failing to comply with discovery obligations ahead of this trial during that phase. Could that have an impact on proceedings at all?
Yeah, and they're going to the jury is going to be informed about some of this. Essentially, his request to keep some information private. The other sort of big lingering question really is if Rudy Giuliani can ultimately afford any of this, because of course Donald Trump famously didn't pay some of the bills that Rudy had written up in the aftermath of the aftermath of the 2020 election, and he's really in dire financial straits at this point. So, not a great start for him, I would say, with the blowing off the hearing last week, and given how this case is all played out. But he's sort of taken a very Trumpian tone about this case overall, with his spokesperson saying that, this is all sort of legal warfare against Rudy Giuliani, even though, Rudy himself in court papers admitted that he made these false claims about these election workers, which was part of this broader campaign to sort of undermine the 2020 election. And these are some of the 2 victims that really were a result of what he was doing in 2020.
Yeah, Ryan, real briefly here, what are the penalties Giuliani could face here? Do we know if he has the means to pay?
Yeah, it's in the millions, right? So they're looking for, in upwards of 10 million all the way up to upwards of $40 million in the end on this, and I think we're going to see some really dramatic testimony from these 2, which could compel the jury to potentially go, pretty high on this ultimate consequence.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Let's get you some international news now. The first snowfall of the season is causing some major delays over in northern China.
NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lavanga has that and other news from around the world. Claudio, good morning.
Joseph, good morning. Well, that's right. The weather outside must look pretty frightful for residents all over northern China. Now, over to Jiangzhou. The city's weather bureau issued a temporary red alert for a blizzard. About 134 roads closed in 12 provinces over these icy conditions. A thin layer of snow also hit downtown Beijing. According to the Beijing Public Transport Group, about 187 bus routes were suspended. Schools were also closed in the area, but I don't think the kids are too concerned about that one. Now let's travel over to South America for an update on a century-old debate between neighbors over land. The conflict continues between Guyana and Venezuela over Guyana's Essequibo region. Guyana's President Mohamed Irfan Ali finally agreed to meet with Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro this Thursday for high-level talks on the status of the region. The two leaders will chat in St. Vincent, but as tensions flare, with both sides standing firm in their right to the controversial territory, an agreement could be difficult. And we end this tour of the world in Oslo, Norway, at the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony. Kayana and Ali, the teenage twins of prominent human rights activist Narges Mohammadi, joined the stage to accept their mom's award on her behalf. Mohammadi is currently locked inside Evin prison in Tehran, serving a 10-year jail term. She was arrested for advocating for women's rights in Iran. The now 17-year-olds have not seen their mother since 2015. Mohammadi's prize was placed in an empty chair between the twins at the ceremony. Her children also read a speech written by their mom behind bars, telling the global audience on her behalf, quote, "The Iranian people with perseverance will overcome repression and authoritarianism." Back to you guys.
Wow, powerful message there, right? Claudia, thank you so much.
Kids there, thank you. Coming up, new developments in the battle over abortion rights in America. Up next, we will take you to Texas, where the state Supreme Court is ruling against granting one woman an emergency abortion. More on the case and how it could have an impact beyond state lines.
And a medical breakthrough that could help millions of people. What we're learning about a new treatment for sickle cell disease. You're watching Morning News Now.
We are back now with the latest on an abortion battle in the state of Texas. The state's Supreme Court is blocking a lower court ruling that would have allowed for a pregnant woman to get an emergency abortion. She says she needs to protect her own life. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has the latest.
A major legal battle over abortion rights unfolding in Texas, with the state Supreme Court stepping in to temporarily block a pregnant woman from obtaining an emergency abortion she's seeking after learning her fetus is non-viable.
I am extremely disappointed, but not really surprised.
Molly Duane is the attorney representing 31-year-old Kate Cox, the pregnant mother of two, suing the state, claiming she's being denied care because of Texas's 6-week abortion ban. Cox, who is 20 weeks pregnant, recently told NBC News that doctors said proceeding with her pregnancy could pose significant risk to her own health and her ability to have more children in the future.
I was, shocked when I found out I would not be able to get the medical care that I need, here in my home state.
On Thursday, a Texas judge ruled that Cox could terminate her pregnancy. State Supreme Court temporarily halted that ruling in response to an appeal from State Attorney General Ken Paxton. This legal battle now becoming one of the most high-profile abortion cases yet since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in last year's Dobbs case.
What is the significance of this case in terms of the broader debate over abortion access?
What's significant here is that we're now trying to hammer out some of the nuances of the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs. And what we're finding is that things are a lot more complicated than simply the right to abortion or not the right to abortion.
Issuing a temporary stay on the lower court's decision will now give the Texas Supreme Court more time to issue a final ruling. But Cox's attorney says meantime Cox's health is in limbo.
For Kate, this is health care that every hour, every minute, certainly every day really counts.
Again, that was Liz Kreutz reporting. Cox's attorney says she's already been to the emergency room 4 times due to complications from the pregnancy. A decision from the Texas Supreme Court could come at any time.
There is new hope this morning for people diagnosed with sickle cell disease. The FDA has approved a groundbreaking new treatment that uses revolutionary gene editing technology. NBC News correspondent Rahima Ellis has the details.
The medical breakthrough focuses attention on a long-overlooked genetic disorder affecting mostly African Americans, suffering from an excruciatingly painful disease, sickle cell. The treatment, called Casgevy, is the first FDA-approved medical use of the gene editing tool CRISPR, and the beginning of a new era in medicine using this technology. It modifies the DNA in a patient's own stem cells so they no longer produce sickle cells, which can cause health complications and can lead to an early death. Doctors call it transformative for nearly 100,000 people affected.
I think it really will change the landscape of science for sickle cell disease. I think it's going to open a lot of doors for a lot of patients.
It's already changed Lorraine Morning's life. The 29-year-old first-year law student at American University's Washington College of Law was one of 46 patients involved in the clinical trial. Diagnosed at birth with sickle cell, doctors told her mother she might not live beyond 11. For most of her life, she says, she suffered severe pain.
It's consistent, it's sharp, and it's crippling.
And that could be where, for example, on your body?
I've had it in my knees, my arm, anywhere there's a joint.
Now Lorraine runs and works out in the gym, things she always wanted to do but never could do before. It's changed your life.
It's changed, yeah.
You said it's given you life.
It's given me life, yeah.
Experts argue the cost puts it out of reach for many families. The price tag is $2.2 million, but it's likely insurance will cover at least some of it.
Our thanks to Rahema for that report. As for treatment, well, it is one procedure. The entire process can take several months. Coming up, a major comeback for a 2000s favorite. When we come back, we're going to break down what's behind the sudden resurgence of Abercrombie & Fitch.
And oh yes, Ohtani. MLB superstar Shohei Ohtani is heading up the 5 freeway for a $700 million deal with the Dodgers. More on the history-making contract and how it could change the league. This is Morning News Now.
Back now, some financial news. Investors are looking ahead to the Federal Reserve's last policy meeting of the year.
CNBC's Silvana Henao has more on that and some other money headlines for us. Hey, Silvana, good morning.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. Yes, so it could be a pivotal week for the markets as the Federal Reserve holds its final policy meeting of the year. That may test investors' optimism for a series of interest rate cuts next year. The Fed will announce its decision on Wednesday. Now, the central bank is expected to leave rates unchanged, so the focus will likely be on whether they will stick to their forecast of cutting them by at least 0.5 percentage point in 2024. Traders have trimmed the odds of the first rate cut coming in March, shifting expectations now to June or July. TikTok is investing $1.5 billion in Indonesia, taking over one of the country's biggest shopping apps. The pact helps ByteDance, that's the parent of TikTok, to restart its shopping app in the biggest online retail market. Earlier this year, Indonesia's government had imposed new rules forcing social media platforms to separate their payment services from content to protect local competition. But now that TikTok Shop will be owned by a separate entity, users will be able to once again shop and pay for items without leaving the app. And media mogul Sherry Redstone is reportedly in talks to sell a controlling stake in Paramount Global's parent company, that's National Amusements, to entertainment firm Skydance. Redstone, the daughter of late Paramount CEO Sumner Redstone, has held talks with Skydance in recent weeks. Skydance is led by the son of Oracle founder Larry Ellison, and it's one of Hollywood's top independent studios, producing some of the Mission Impossible films and Top Gun Maverick, guys.
All right, Savannah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, baseball superstar Shohei Ohtani is keeping his talents in Southern California, but he's moving just about 30 miles up the road, signing a record-breaking deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
The 29-year-old free agent took to Instagram over the weekend to announce he's signing with the Dodgers for a jaw-dropping 10-year, $700 million deal. It is believed to be the biggest contract in sports history. Ohtani was one of the most sought-after free agents in Major League Baseball history after spending 6 seasons with the Angels.
For more on this, let's bring in NBC Sports host and reporter Corey Robinson. Corey, always great to have you on set with us. Thanks for coming today. All right, so he's an elite hitter and pitcher, and apparently the most successful player to do both of those things since Babe Ruth like a century ago. Put in perspective the significance of this deal, both for him, but also for the league.
Yeah, you have to think about
like Yao Ming in the NBA is probably the best comp because Yao Ming is a Hall of Famer and he catalyzed an entire country's interest in basketball. We're talking about billions of people, right? So he was a walking industry. So the deal is different, right? I mean, you look at, imagine, so now then you add in like the Babe Ruth aspect of a player doing both things at elite level. That's like Magic Johnson playing center when Kareem goes down in the finals, right? I mean, it's like Magic's like one of the best players ever. So you add both of those together and you have literally like this unicorn moment, which is why the whole baseball world was tracking like flights, like where any private jet coming out of LA, like, does that mean he's going to Toronto? Does that mean he's going where? Wow. That's the magnitude of this. When I was in Beijing covering the Olympics, the Japanese media came out in hordes to cover the curling team. And like, I mean, I saw firsthand the interest. When there's a Japanese athlete at a high level, the entire country follows just rapidly.
Wow. So you mentioned all this interest. He's a two-time MVP. Why in the end do you think it was the Dodgers that he went with?
So the ability to spend your entire career in one location is super rare. I mean, that's 16 years you think about, right? 6 years with the Angels and 10 years with the Dodgers in one spot. This is something that is really not talked about, the interior dynamics of relocation. Your kids are going to school one place, your partner's another place, and you're playing abroad. That creates a lot of conflict. But so that being paid $700 million and being able to never move is pretty sweet. But then the big thing that was reported, because it's been so private, is no details, no leaks. That was one of the biggest things. If anything came out during this process, you were immediately out of contention. So the Dodgers did a really good job of keeping it under wraps.
Oh, I like that. He laid down the law. I know he also had torn a ligament, right, in his elbow this past. I mean, while he's going through that, he's not even expected to be able to pitch again, right, until the 2025 season. Do you think he could have made even more money if right now he was at 100%?
It's hard to say. I think the answer is yes. There are players who have come back from 2 Tommy Johns, which is what he had, the UCL. He had that 2 times in the past 5 seasons, right? So you look at Jacob deGrom as a great example of a pitcher who's been able to do it at the high level coming back. But $700 million is a lot of money. I mean, come on, it's like almost $300 million more than the record, which, so. Wow. And I think just the reason why, to go back to the LA Dodgers, in addition to staying home, is Mike Trout's one of the best players of all time. He was his teammate at the Angels. He has made, I think, at the time when he signed, it was like $400-something million contract. It was record setting. And they didn't make the playoffs, right? So I think he, as a person who understands how rare his talents are, I think he understands, like, I can go this Mike Trout route, which is make a ton of money, and in 6 years, someone's going to double my record contract, and we never make the playoffs. Or I go play with these guys, and the Dodgers have 3 players who finished in the top 3 in MVP voting. Yeah. On the same team, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and him, and he gets paid $700 million. Like, so to me, it's a no-brainer.
We'll see. And we don't have time to talk about this, but he's deferring some of his salary in the hopes that the team will invest in other people, can sign those guys, and they actually can win. So, all right, cool.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sports. Corey, thank you so much.
Good to see you. All right, as you head out the door to finish up or perhaps start your holiday shopping, you might be surprised to see retailer Abercrombie & Fitch is making a comeback. The company's stock has been surging lately, even outpacing tech superstars like Apple and Tesla. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans has a closer look at the resurging brand.
They lined up and screamed, but the branded moose fell out of fashion. Now a surprising retail revival, out with the shirtless models, in with the trendy basics.
I love the clothes.
Abercrombie & Fitch making a comeback, both on social media and in stores. Sales in the third quarter up 20% compared to last year, bringing in more than $1 billion. And the stock on a tear. Abercrombie skyrocketing more than 220% year to date, doing way better than the broader market and its competitors. For Gen Z, it's the hot new brand.
They have a lot of really good basics. I want it back in Canada.
For everyone else, it's the hot new rebrand. Abercrombie & Fitch has come in and out of popularity for decades, and not just for its clothes. Take it all the way back to 1892, when it was founded as a sporting goods retailer, carrying what it called high-quality camping, fishing, and hunting gear, dressing notable people like Presidents William Taft and Teddy Roosevelt. Fast forward to the late 1970s, when the company filed for bankruptcy.
Now Abercrombie & Fitch is broke and going out of business.
Only for the store to gain popularity again a couple of decades later.
Rolling out more stores, more product lines.
In the 90s, new leadership meant new changes to casual luxury targeting teens.
Abercrombie & Fitch made its debut on Wall Street yesterday.
Military uniforms becoming all-American apparel. Guns hanging in stores replaced by these guns greeting shoppers. It was preppy preppy meets sexy. Walk in the store and be hit with strong cologne, loud music, and a dark ambiance, perpetuating an unwelcoming environment for many.
It was more intimidating almost. Like you're like, I don't want to walk into there.
It attracted a certain type of customer, and if you weren't that, you didn't really get helped, to be honest.
And becoming a breeding ground for scandals. The company settled federal and class action lawsuits in 2003 after employees claimed the store refused to hire them on the basis of race, and lost a 2015 U.S. Supreme Court case where a teen faced discrimination for wearing a headscarf. Now allegations surfacing against former CEO Michael Jeffries, accused of sex abuse and trafficking. His attorney telling NBC News he would not comment on reports about his personal life. But the store still thriving despite its scandalous past.
I think they've done an excellent job of resetting that reputation and leaving that in the past while acknowledging that, the brand was clearly making some massive errors in judgment at that time.
The company shifting to trendy styles, more inclusive sizing, trying on a welcoming atmosphere.
For somebody doesn't have the best body or is not a model body, it's cool to see not to see that all the time.
The store's a lot brighter, it's happier.
Business intelligence company Morning Consult saying Abercrombie's brand favorability with Gen Z adults up nearly 8% in just a few months this year. But will the pendulum swing in its favor for years to come?
If Abercrombie can stay ahead of the trends with Gen Z while also connecting with older shoppers, bringing the millennials back into their stores, that's going to be really critical to see ongoing growth.
Our thanks to Christine Romans for that report.
Well, when we come back, we are taking you to the newest hotspot for teens. Probably not where you'd think.
After the break, why more and more young people are heading to the library. This is Morning News Now. Welcome back. As we've been reporting, 2023 marks 50 years of hip-hop, and what better way to wrap up the celebration than with a concert featuring some of the living icons who helped shape the genre into what it is today. The Grammys partnered with the Recording Academy to salute hip-hop and its cultural impact on the world. Hip-hop legends Queen Latifah, Public Enemy, Akon, Chance the Rapper, and many more performed. There was also this iconic moment: Will Smith, a.k.a. the Fresh Prince, reunited with DJ Jazzy Jeff. The pair won the first ever Grammy for hip-hop. You can stream the special now on Paramount Plus or DirecTV. Fun fact, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince performed at my high school in the 90s.
Whoa!
We won a contest, and we got a concert with them during the Boom, 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 Shake the Room era.
Wow.
And they were there.
Can I just say, this is a trip down memory lane for you, isn't it, this morning, Joe? Because we had that high school performance. You worked at Abercrombie and Fitch.
Abercrombie, yeah. Wow.
We love it.
Basically, the show's based on my childhood.
Oh, thank you, Joe, for that. Well, you might remember The Breakfast Club, the classic 80s movie where a group of high schoolers are forced to spend the day in detention in the last place they want to be, the library. But according to a new study, the perception might be changing among younger Americans. NBC's Maura Barrett has the story.
In the quiet corners of libraries across the country, a reading renaissance led by younger generations is underway.
Teens read a lot.
A new study from the American Library Association revealing that Gen Z and millennials are visiting libraries at higher rates than older generations, with 54% saying they visited a brick-and-mortar location in the last year.
Is that surprising to see the interest in checking out physical books when teens have so many digital distractions?
I think what's interesting about this age group is they are just very fluid in terms of their platforms. I feel like it's sort of in parallel, right, to how they deal with the world.
Siva Ramakrishnan is the director of Young Adult Services at New York Public Libraries, where she's made it her mission to encourage younger people to visit the library, whether it's to check out books or take advantage of its resources, like book clubs or college application help.
I think that, to me, what's really important is that libraries are able to meet young people kind of where they're at. This becomes a part of their life. This becomes a key space between school and home where they are able to pursue their interests.
The authors of the study believe libraries and reading could offer a non-digital alternative for Gen Z and millennials.
I think that there's an assumption that Gen Z and millennials are pretty digitally oriented. What our study found is that, in fact, they love printed books. They love going to libraries. So we wonder whether printed books and libraries might be a digital detox for them.
They're hopeful their research will help turn the page for the younger generation.
There's been a narrative around, oh, maybe Gen Z and millennials aren't reading as much or aren't going to the library, which just isn't true.
This Gen Z-led book club, Village Fairy, started on TikTok, where the founders set out to prove that point while also building community.
I personally love like a physical copy of a book after you've been on the phone all day or your computer. It's fun to have something that is not looking at a screen and something to bring along with you on a trip.
New to New York, Ellie McCoy and Isabella Harrison started their club in search of friends that shared their love of reading.
It can be really daunting moving here. I think having like a solid group of friends around you can just change your experience completely. And so that's kind of been, I don't know, the most important and like our North Star in all of this.
A new chapter of friendship, all thanks to sharing a physical book.
Isn't that fun? Our thanks to Maura Bear for that story.
That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, we are following devastation in Tennessee with a deadly string of powerful tornadoes. At least 6 people are dead, dozens more injured. We're on the ground with new images of the destruction as heavy rain and snow tear across the Northeast. We're going to have your full forecast in just a moment. In the Middle East this morning, deteriorating conditions in Gaza. Israel's military stepping up its assault on the southern part of the battered enclave. The intensifying violence now jeopardizing already fragile humanitarian efforts, with nearly 2 million Gazans displaced from their homes. We'll bring you the latest as back home incidents of anti-Semitism and hate crimes take center stage. We're also looking ahead to all the married madness in America's airports and on the roads this holiday season. A new report from AAA projects another record-breaking romp to destinations across the country. But will the airlines be able to keep up this time around? And later in the hour, we are feeling lucky with a look at Google's top trending searches for the year 2023.
Actually, I am kind of surprised by some of them.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
I actually haven't looked yet. I'm going to be surprised.
Yeah.
With
there
everyone
you go.
else. All right.
Things that you would think, let me put it this way, you know, where the big stories weren't that searched, which I thought was interesting.
All right. Yeah. Looking forward to diving into that. Let's begin this morning with those powerful and destructive tornadoes that tore through central Tennessee over the weekend, killing at least 6 people and injuring more than 60.
Yeah, take a look at this. You can see the devastation left behind from those storms. Line crews working around the clock, but more than 30,000 people remain without power, and officials say it could be weeks before the lights are back on. NBC's Marissa Parra is on the ground in Madison with the latest.
This morning, shocking new video shows the devastation in hard-hit Tennessee after a string of deadly tornadoes swept through the central part of the state over the weekend.
Oh my gosh!
The twisters caught on camera tearing through the night sky.
Oh my God.
The National Weather Service confirming at least one EF3 packing 150-mile-per-hour winds. The powerful tornadoes leaving homes in Madison reduced to rubble.
The next time we know, it just sounded like an explosion went off. You could hear stuff flying everywhere. It was crazy. It's crazy. It is terrifying.
Tennessee's governor touring one hard-hit area, which suffered 3 of the state's 6 fatalities.
Really sad, really heartbreaking.
Felipe Domingo lost his wife and his 2-year-old son.
Sad, desperate.
Telling us their loss has left him with a big pain in his heart. The tragedy, part of a storm system that produced over 20 tornadoes across the South. Now that same system is moving up the East Coast, putting 52 million people under flood alerts from D.C. to Maine, prompting another brief tornado in North Carolina. Back in Clarksville, Tennessee, Markeisha Frazier says a tornado pulled her home apart while her entire family was inside.
The wind just took me, and I just remember waking up on this side of my house, looking for my home, and then I saw my children over there, and my husband was in the debris back there.
Families here now trying to salvage what they can, as the community promises to work together to rebuild what they've lost.
I've seen this community come together like no other before. And I know we're going to do it again.
Our thanks to Marissa Parra for that report. This morning, some schools in the area are closed because of the damage, while others are on a delay because of those power outages. For more on all this, we are now joined by the mayor of hard-hit Clarksville, Tennessee, Joe Pitts. Mayor Pitts, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. I'm sorry it is under these circumstances, and we appreciate your time. What is the latest on the ground in Clarksville this morning? What are you hearing from people in your community?
Well, good morning, and thank you for letting us tell our story. It's a cold morning this morning, but it's another opportunity for our city to rally around those hardest hit. But we still have about 10,000 people without power. We have about 300 people or families that are displaced and their homes are a total loss. But we have crews mobilized on site this morning. Currently, as we speak, at daybreak this morning, they were out with heavy equipment, dumpsters, dump trucks, neighbor helping neighbor. It's just been a phenomenal sight to see that happening.
You mentioned 10,000 without power. You said in a news conference over the weekend, could be several weeks before power is restored to everyone. First of all, is that still the case? What can be done to help those people? You mentioned it's cold, it's the holiday season. What are your biggest worries when it comes to that?
Well, our biggest concern is making sure those who were without homes take advantage of the shelters that we have set up throughout our city. The Red Cross has been incredible. Manna Cafe is a valuable nonprofit community nonprofit partner that has a shelter set up. Feeding Mosaic Church in our community has set up a command center to help the city and the county. So our biggest concern and our first priority is to take care of our people, and that we are doing.
Anything people at home can do to help your community who want to lend a helping hand? Are those places that you mentioned somewhere that other people can donate to?
We've had a great outpouring of people who want to help, and we're encouraging people, if you want to help, please call 931-245-2988 to volunteer. We're trying to coordinate that so we don't have too many people on the ground and in the way. But most of all, we just ask you to pray for our city. And give us time and be patient while we get to it, but we will get to every last person.
For people who don't know, I lived in Nashville many years ago, so I'd frequently cover situations and things happening in Clarksville. It is just south of Fort Campbell, so it's a military community. What should people know about Clarksville?
Well, we're a patriotic community, as you just mentioned, Joe. But we are resilient. We had a tornado back in 1999 that forever shaped our downtown. We experienced the flooding of 2010, and now this devastation in 2023. But we are resilient. I can't say that enough. Our people are our strength, and we're going to get through this together. And we've already shown, as of early yesterday morning, when Montgomery County Mayor Golden and I were touring the neighborhoods and just hugging on people and loving on them and just letting them know we are here for you.
Clarksville Mayor Joe Pitts, thank you very much for joining us during this tough time. We appreciate you sharing your story with us, and we're thinking about you. Hopefully the power gets back on quickly. We'll check in. Thank you.
Staying with weather, let's get a check now on your Morning News Now forecast.
Yeah, meteorologist Michelle Grossman is here with the look ahead. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, great to see you. And this remains a big story today because that strong cold front continues to move through the area. It's going to move off the coast today, and it's in the process of doing that, but still left with some impact. So that departing storm brings some heavy, wet snow to portions of northern New England. We're seeing some rain still falling in spots. I'll show you that in just a minute. Otherwise, in the middle of the country, we're looking good today. High pressure in control. That's bringing sunshine. It's bringing above average temperatures to the central and southern plains. We're looking good in the southeast as well. We're looking at mostly sunny skies there. It's back to the west. We're watching more snow. So we're looking at a winter storm, snow and wind, and also lower elevation rain. That's where you see the green. In the Intermountain West, portions of the northwest as well. The southwest looking good with lots of sunshine. And then as we go through the middle of the work week, we're looking at December warm throughout the northern tier of the nation. Rain and snow in parts of the Rockies, the Four Corners, into the south central states. So lower elevation rain once again, higher elevation snow. And we're dry throughout the eastern part of the nation. That's good news. After this weekend, we're going to dry it out in the Ohio Valley, into portions of the Tennessee Valley, the southeast, into the mid-Atlantic, also the northeast. Parts of the Great Lakes could see some lake effect snow showers as we head towards Wednesday. Thursday, warm sunshine throughout the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley once again. And the northeast, we're going to start out the weekend dry. That's good news. Gulf showers throughout the Gulf Coast states, the south central states. Could see some heavy rain. That's where you see those darker colors. That's kind of indicating that we are expecting the chance for some heavy downpours. Scattered snow showers throughout the Intermountain West, but we're not expecting blockbuster storms by Friday, and looking at little rain and snow showers in the Pacific Northwest. Let's talk about the storm. This is the strong cold front that moved through that brought that wild weather throughout portions of Tennessee. This is moving rapidly off the coast. Even within the past couple of hours, it still continues to move to the north and also to the east. So most of this is over the Atlantic at this point. It's going to linger into portions of New England, though. We're going to see that sort of strengthen, the area of low pressure strengthen and deepen. That means we're going to see some really gusty winds. Could see winds gusting up to 70 miles per hour, especially along the coast of Maine. But northern New England could see a lot of snow as well, heavy snow, some wet snow, up to a foot in the highest elevations of Maine, close to the Canadian border. We're also looking at Great Lakes because that's that cold air coming back in behind this cold front, going over those warmer lake waters. So we are expecting the chance for some lake effect snow showers as well. Still dealing with storm alerts. We have winter weather advisories. We have winter storm warnings. We have flood watches, and we have flood warnings. Not as many flood warnings. That's good news, but still looking at some. That's where you see the red, and that's showing us where flooding is happening right now. So be careful as you head out and about on this Monday morning. 27 million people impacted. These numbers are going to improve as we go throughout the next couple of hours, especially into the afternoon and evening hours. Could see some flash flooding as well. Could see rain anywhere from 1 to 2 inches per hour in portions of Maine, and that's why we're expecting the chance of flash flooding in addition to some snow melt. So not a lot of rain left over, but still where you see this yellow in parts of Maine, downwind of Maine, and also the coastal portions, we're looking at some heavier rain there. Also looking at the chance for some snow into upstate New York, New England, and also the Appalachians. Windy. It's going to be really windy. This is going to bring some power lines down, some trees down. So we are expecting some power outages, and it's cold. And so that's a bad combo. Winds gusting up to 61 miles per hour in Nantucket. Some spots could see up to 70 miles per hour. This is what it looks like. That storm is off. It's going to be departing as we go throughout the rest of today into the evening hours. We have some leftover snow in the upstate New York area, also New England. Now let's talk about some warm weather because we were talking about the cold air back behind this cold front. If you go further back to the west, we're looking at some above average temperatures, which is nice because this is going to move east. We're looking at temperatures 10 degrees above normal in Omaha, 11 degrees above normal in Wichita, 55 degrees, 61 in Wichita Falls. So warmer today. It's going to be milder tomorrow as well, still above average with temperatures anywhere from 5 up to 10 degrees above what is normal for this time of year. So Nashville into the mid-50s. That's good news for the state of Tennessee. 60 degrees in Little Rock and Dallas. We're looking at 62 degrees. And then as we look even further ahead, we're looking at December 16th through the 20th. We're going to keep it above average in a lot of spots. So where you see this red, that's warmer than average. That's a lot of us throughout the Northern Plains, the Great Lakes, and even into the Northeast, we're looking above average as we go throughout next week, and also drier than average. Back to you guys.
We'll take that. All right, Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, University of Pennsylvania's president resigned over the weekend after a major backlash related to that anti-Semitism hearing on Capitol Hill.
The leaders of 3 top universities were heavily criticized for their controversial testimony, and now there's pressure on the others to resign as well. NBC News senior national correspondent Stephanie Gosk has been following this and is the latest. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, guys. Nice to see you both. That's right. The criticism is growing, even as those school leaders tried to clarify comments they made regarding free speech on campus and how far it should be allowed to go. Over the weekend, the president of the University of Pennsylvania stepping down as calls for the presidents of MIT and Harvard to follow suit are getting louder. Pressure is mounting on the presidents of MIT and Harvard less than a week after they testified before Congress about rising anti-Semitism on college campuses nationwide.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign.
Just days after giving a similar answer to the same question, the president of the University of Pennsylvania, Liz McGill, resigned on Saturday. Republican Elise Stefanik, who questioned the 3 university leaders, posting 1 down, 2 to go.
The answers reeked of anti-Semitism.
Harvard's president has tried to clarify, writing, calls for violence or genocide against the Jewish community or any religious or ethnic group are vile. They have no place at Harvard. According to the Harvard Crimson, more than 500 faculty members at the school have signed a letter asking Harvard's governing body not to remove President Gay. It comes as communities across the country cope with rising tensions as the war in the Middle East continues. And now an arrest in a case that gained nationwide attention back in October, when Samantha Wool, a well-known rabbi in Detroit, was found stabbed to death outside her home. This morning, Detroit police confirming a person of interest is in custody. Police have said there's no evidence that the killing was a hate crime, but anti-Semitic threats have been on the rise since the war began. In California, a couple speaking out after an attack this weekend that police are calling a hate crime.
I decided that we couldn't just let it go.
Both in their 70s, the couple say they were walking to synagogue when a man ran up behind them.
All of a sudden, I saw the guy hitting my husband with the belt and screaming, sorry, give me your earrings, Jew.
They chased the man off, and he was later caught and arrested by police.
Julie Platt, the vice chair of Penn's Board of Trustees, has been named interim chair and will serve until a permanent successor is appointed. Former president Liz McGill will remain a tenured faculty member at the university's law school. Meanwhile, MIT's governing board released a statement last week standing behind its president, Sally Kornbluth, amid the backlash to her testimony. And so far, Harvard's board has not done the same for its president, guys.
All right, Stephanie Goss, thank you for staying on this for us.
You're welcome.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called on Hamas to surrender as Israeli forces intensify their aerial and ground assault on southern Gaza. The fighting comes as UN officials say half of the Palestinians there are now starving as the humanitarian situation worsens. NBC's chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Prime Minister Netanyahu says that Hamas has murdered 20 of the hostages since the October 7th attacks. Hamas denies that, but says that some of the hostages have been killed by Israeli airstrikes in Gaza, and it warned Israel not to attempt any rescue operations, saying that no hostages would leave Gaza alive except through a deal.
Israel says Hamas's grip on power in Gaza is being broken. Prime Minister Netanyahu saying Hamas is at the beginning of the end. In northern Gaza, Israeli forces have raised a flag in the main square to show they've conquered Gaza City. More than 2.3 million people in Gaza have fled south, squeezed into a small strip along the Egyptian border and facing a humanitarian collapse. A senior UN official says half of Gazans are now starving. 91% of households go to bed hungry, according to the World Food Program.
Overcrowding, combined with the lack of adequate food, water, shelter, and sanitation, are creating the ideal conditions for disease to spread.
12-year-old Mohammed Jamil Abuwardi and his 8-year-old sister are sheltering at a school in the city of Rafah. We can't find the inhaler for my sister. I am hungry. We didn't eat for 2 days now, he says. 137 hostages remain in Gaza. Families worry their health and conditions are also worsening. 19-year-old Naama Levy was kidnapped near the kibbutz Nahaloz. Her mother, Ayelit Shahar, is a family doctor. Ayelit treasures a towel that her daughter slept on before her kidnapping.
I put it for her, actually. She's still a little girl sometimes, even though she's 19, so I put it for her.
Naama's an athlete and was active in Hands of Peace, a youth group that brings together Israelis, Palestinians, and Americans. After the ceasefire collapsed, hostage families are looking for any help they can find.
I'm hoping, I'm calling to the mothers, let's bring her home together.
After the U.S. vetoed a UN resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire, Arab negotiators say the chances of reaching a settlement to pause the violence once again are getting slimmer.
All right, Richard, thank you.
Well, Ukraine's President Zelensky is expected to meet with President Biden at the White House tomorrow. The invitation comes as Congress is divided over a military aid package to Ukraine and Israel. The White House says Biden is expected to reaffirm U.S. support to Ukraine while discussing the country's needs in its war with Russia. A Senate leadership aide says Zelensky was also invited to address an all-senators meeting on Tuesday morning.
We're just 5 weeks away from the start of the Republican primary process with the Iowa caucuses.
Yeah, and a brand new poll out this morning with the Des Moines Register, NBC News, and Mediacom shows former President Trump's lead from likely caucus goers is growing. He's
growing
now
with the goers.
It's a tongue twister. He's now gained 8 points since October, which puts him at 51% overall. So people already made up their minds.
Here to break down all the numbers we're seeing in this new poll is NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray. Mark, good to see you. So what are the big takeaways here from the poll?
I think the first big takeaway, Joe, is that Donald Trump has a sizable lead, 32 points over the nearest competitor, Ron DeSantis, at 19%. You have former President Donald Trump at 51%, DeSantis at 19%, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley at 16%. As you ended up mentioning, Donald Trump's lead is up 8 points from our October poll. Nikki Haley has kind of treaded water, and Ron DeSantis is up 3 points.
How could these numbers change between now and when we actually see this go down?
Yeah, Savannah, I think that's important to note that we've had a lot of surprises in Iowa's caucuses on the Republican and even on the Democratic side. And so we need to have that caution in mind as we look at these numbers. And while Donald Trump has majority support among evangelicals and first-time caucus goers, his numbers among independents is a little bit low. And that is potentially one weak point for him, along with white women with college degrees. Those are some places where DeSantis and Nikki Haley are doing a little bit better versus Donald Trump. Overall, 49% of likely Iowa caucus goers say that their mind is made up versus 46% who say that they could still be persuaded. However, 70% of Donald Trump supporters say that their minds are made up versus just about a third of the backers who are supporting Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, kind of showing that enthusiasm advantage and commitment advantage that Donald Trump has.
Interesting to see, though. Half could still be persuaded. We know Iowa voters take this very seriously, so we'll see what happens in the final weeks here.
Absolutely.
We know the former president's not going to be testifying in court in his civil fraud trial today. We've already seen months of these legal battles involving Trump. We're likely going to see criminal trials next year. How do people feel about that when it comes to trying to win the nomination and get back to the White House?
Joe, our poll ends up showing just among likely Republican caucus goers, 73% say that Donald Trump can still defeat President Joe Biden despite Donald Trump's legal challenges versus 24% who believe that all the legal challenges will make it very difficult to defeat Joe Biden. And so at least when you look at the universe of Republican voters, and in this state in Iowa, they are dismissing the legal challenges that confront the former president.
What can we expect from candidates in the coming days as the Iowa caucus quickly approach? What is campaigning going to look like?
It's going to be fast and furious, Savannah, and it's important to note that with 5 weeks to go, this is when the candidates usually start cranking up the level of activity. Of course, it dies down a little bit during the Christmas holidays and as we get into New Year's, but the caucuses are on January 15th, and already our poll that comes after a furious amount of campaigning, as well as Ron DeSantis picking up endorsements like from current Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds. So there's going to be a lot of activity, and I guarantee you a lot more poll numbers.
No kidding. All right, Mark, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. There's much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now. After the break, the merry madness of holiday travel could be one for the record books this season. We'll bring you an eye-opening new report from AAA on just how many Americans are getting their sleighs ready for action.
I got my sleigh ready. All right. Plus, the royal family getting into the Christmas spirit this morning. More on their decked-out celebrations of the season next. Welcome back. With Christmas 2 weeks away, there is a warning for holiday travelers. A new report from AAA is projecting record high air travel this Christmas and New Year's. Oh, yeah, the roads will be jam-packed, too. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock joins us from Miami with everything you need to know about this year's holiday travel season. Sam, good morning.
Joe, good morning. Plane, car, cruise, train, it doesn't seem to matter what mode of transportation you're taking. All of the numbers are up. What AAA did, they just forecast their latest holiday end-of-year travel numbers, is look at a 10-day window, Joe, really before Christmas through after New Year's. And what they found is the second highest number of total travelers this century. Still, there are ways to do this wisely without losing your holiday cheer.
'Tis the season for holiday travel madness. And a new report says this year will be one of the busiest on record. AAA projects a staggering 115 million U.S. travelers will venture 50 miles or more from home this holiday season. That's 2.5 million above what we saw last year, racing through terminals and jamming roadways, and the second highest year-end travel forecast since AAA began recording it in 2000.
Airports expected to be their busiest ever this Christmas and New Year's season, with an estimated 7.5 million travelers flying, surpassing 2019's record.
There's nothing to Chicago?
There's nothing to Chicago, New York, Nashville, you name it. Everything's gone.
But forget Home Alone level hysteria. The travel booking app Hopper says even with surging volumes, airlines are prepared.
Airlines have done a lot of work to rebuild their fleets and get prepared for the busy holiday week. So heading into the holidays, airlines are prepared and ready for potential delays and cancellations.
Some customers feeling sticker shock from the cost of a trip home.
From Austin to New York, it's almost $1,000 to fly home for Christmas, which is crazy.
But one piece of holiday cheer. AAA says average plane ticket prices are actually slightly lower than last year. So what can you do to navigate the crowds? The busiest days to fly are Thursday the 21st and Friday the 22nd, so leave extra time on those days. Take the earliest flights out if possible, as they're usually the least likely to be delayed. And remember, for a fee, TSA PreCheck and Clear will help cut down on security line chaos. Gas prices also down, just in time for that trip to Grandma's house. But if you're planning on hitting the road this holiday season, drivers could see travel times up to 20% longer this year, with Saturday, December 23rd and Thursday, December 28th expected to be the most congested days to drive. And back to the skies now for a second. The busiest airports in the country, according to Hopper, are Atlanta, Dallas, and Denver. Hopper also saying the best time to book your trips for 2024 is the beginning of January. It might be, guys, the best deals that you see year-round. So if you want to come and spend your summer with me here in Florida, it is lovely this time of year. Now is the time to book, really, the next couple of weeks. Look forward to that.
Sam is basically a postcard for Florida there. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
really.
Sam. Appreciate it.
Well, new this morning, a U.S. Air Force F-16 fighter jet has crashed off the coast of South Korea.
NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lavanga has that and other world headlines. Claudio, good morning.
Joe Savannah, good morning. That's right. Military officials confirmed that a U.S. Air Force pilot ejected from his F-16 fighter jet right before it plunged into the sea off the coast of South Korea. Now, in a statement, the U.S. 848 fighter wing said the pilot was rescued by the South Korean Maritime Forces and is awake and in stable conditions. Officials said the aircraft experienced an unspecified emergency after taking off from the Kusan air base in South Korea. The cause of the emergency is still under investigation. Let's now go to the South China Sea, where the Chinese Coast Guard is accused of using water cannons against Philippine vessels, as well as ramming into them. The incident happened while the Philippine vessels were on supply mission to the second Thomas Shoal, a territory disputed by several countries, including China. In a statement on Sunday, the U.S. State Department condemned those maneuvers as reckless and demanded the Chinese Coast Guard to desist from its dangerous and destabilizing conduct in the South China Sea. And let's end this tour of the world in Nigeria, where the most stylish dogs in West Africa put up quite a show. The dogs were dressed in traditional outfits to celebrate Nigeria's heritage, and many matched the owner's clothes. I guess they took the saying, like owner, like dog, a little too far, guys. Back to you.
I think it's cute. I'm all in on it. All right, Claudio, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, let's head to Britain now, where the royal family is getting in the festive spirit. We are getting some Christmas cards, sneak peeks, and Prince William and Kate were spotted with their children at a carol service. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us from London to get us in the Christmas spirit. Hey, Molly, good morning.
Hey guys, good morning. That's right. Everyone's getting into it. 'Tis the season, and no one does Christmas like this country. We saw the whole Wales family out and about over the weekend, including little Prince Louis, who stole the show. Take a look.
This morning, the royal family is counting down to Christmas. Will and Kate and their 3 children attending the Together at Christmas carol service at Westminster Abbey. The Princess of Wales, stunning in winter whites, hosting the service Friday night. And it was the first time for their youngest, 5-year-old Prince Louis, the fourth in line to the throne, nearly always the center of attention, eye to eye with a nutcracker and blowing out his sister Charlotte's candle. William and Kate's kids also posting Christmas cards to children around the country. The theme this year, Children and Families, a nod to Kate's early education work. The full concert is set to air on Christmas Eve.
A heartfelt thank you to all those supporting the very youngest members of our society.
Over the weekend, the Wales family also releasing their Christmas photo, all in crisp white shirts, while King Charles and Queen Camilla selected a coronation snap for their Christmas card. This week, the new king opening up his beloved residence to the public at Highgrove House in Gloucestershire, specifically to highlight a new initiative, the brainchild of the environmentally conscious king. Old drapes and curtains from Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle have been upcycled into kimonos to be auctioned off for charity.
So sustainability is a really key part of the King's Foundation, which is part of His Majesty's vision.
But it's also an opportunity for the public to get into the Christmas spirit, visiting Charles's favorite house, all decked out for the holidays.
Now, Savannah, those kimonos are gorgeous. They're up for auction until Wednesday. As far as actual Christmas Day plans for the royal family, they're planning to be up at Sandringham like normal. We expect Kate and Will and their 3 kids. No word yet, though, if Harry and Meghan and their 2 kids will get the invite or make the trip. Savannah?
That will, of course, be a big talker either way. Molly Hunter, thank you so much.
Coming up, the comeback kid makes his highly anticipated return to the court.
That is right. Bronny James, son of the legendary hooper LeBron James, finally making his collegiate debut over the weekend after going into cardiac arrest a few months ago. We will take you courtside up next.
We're back with a little college basketball and the return of LeBron James' oldest son, Bronny. The USC freshman played for the first time since collapsing from cardiac arrest this last summer. NBC News contributing correspondent Kaylee Hartung is in L.A. with the story.
Hey there, Joe and Savannah. No matter when it happened, Bronny James taking to the court was going to be one of the most highly anticipated debuts in college basketball history. But given the circumstances, this was even more meaningful. Following months of recovery after suffering that sudden cardiac arrest in July, the basketball protege had the sold-out crowd, including his proud dad, on their feet.
Call him the comeback kid. 19-year-old Bronny James on the court Sunday in his very first game for the USC Trojans, making plays reminiscent of his famous father. The crowd in a frenzy as LeBron James took video and cheered on his son's remarkable return after his terrifying collapse back in July.
Get ambulance here now.
The freshman rushed to the hospital during a team workout after suffering sudden cardiac arrest, the leading cause of death for student athletes. Bronny was diagnosed with a significant but treatable congenital heart defect and underwent surgery this summer, according to a family spokesperson. His future playing basketball uncertain as he began the rehab process. He set out the first 8 games of the season, but after doctors cleared Bronny to play at the end of November, he returned to full contact practice last week.
We prayed as a family. We had great doctors along the way the whole time telling us that, they believe things will, work out for us in our favor.
LeBron rushing to be at his son's game in Los Angeles the day after winning the NBA's first ever in-season tournament MVP in Las Vegas.
It's going to be a hell of a weekend for me.
The 4-time NBA champ, writing on Instagram after the game, "Can't even tell y'all how emotional today was for me. All I can say is, Bronny, you're simply incredible. You've already won the ultimate goal, championship, and that's life."
I just want to say I'm thankful for everything.
Nike Basketball celebrating Bronny with this photo, posting, "Nothing stops a future king."
And LeBron has said he's dedicating this season of basketball, his 21st, to Bronny. And guys, because this was Bronny's first game since his cardiac incident, he came off the bench and only played part of the game. His coach says it will take a few games for Bronny to get back into the groove. But after what he's been through, everyone is celebrating his return and his health.
No kidding. All right, Kaylee, thank you.
Thank you. Well, turning now to some shocking news from tennis legend and ESPN announcer Chris Everett.
The 68-year-old Hall of Famer has revealed over the weekend that she has ovarian cancer. It has returned. Here's NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz.
Hey there. Everett was first diagnosed with ovarian cancer 2 years ago. It was just earlier this year she announced she was in remission. Now, with her cancer returning, Everett is opening up publicly again about her journey, hoping to remind others the importance of remaining vigilant about your health.
This morning, tennis icon Chris Everett is opening up about a new health battle. The 68-year-old revealing her cancer is back less than a year after remission. Writing in a statement, "While this is a diagnosis I never wanted to hear, I once again feel fortunate that it was caught early." Based on a PET CT scan, Everett says she underwent another surgery where doctors found cancer cells in the same pelvic region as before. She says all cells have been removed and she's now begun another round of chemotherapy.
Ovarian cancer is an insidious and it's a very sneaky cancer.
In December 2021, Everett was first diagnosed with stage 1 ovarian cancer, the same cancer that took her beloved sister Jeannie in 2020. Following her death, new genetic testing showed Jeannie had a BRCA1 mutation known to cause breast and ovarian cancer, vital information that Everett says helped save her own life.
I got tested the next day and the blood work took like 10 days, but when I was positive, I knew there was no choice to be made.
When tests showed she was positive for the same mutation, Everett decided to get a preventative hysterectomy. Through the surgery, she learned she had cancer in one of her fallopian tubes. While her tumor was found early, Everett still had to undergo 6 grueling rounds of chemotherapy. The 18-time Grand Slam singles champion was open about letting others in on her personal journey.
In tennis, you can control the situation a lot better. And this type of thing, you can't control it. Thousands and thousands of people have cancer. I'm just like everybody else.
In January, more than 2 years after her diagnosis, the proud mother of 3 shared the good news that she was finally cancer-free. Writing in an ESPN op-ed, there's a 90% chance that the ovarian cancer will never come back. Everett's story, a beacon of hope for so many, including her once greatest rival on the court, Martina Navratilova, who announced earlier this year that she was diagnosed with throat cancer and a recurrence of breast cancer. In June, she revealed she was officially cancer-free.
Chris Everett and I went through the same thing, essentially, emotionally.
Navratilova opened up to Savannah and Hoda about her close bond with Everett and how they helped each other through tough times.
What did it mean to have her in your court, so to speak?
We've just been so intertwined. It's amazing how much our paths have been on a similar path. I was there for her when Chris went through it, and then she was there for me. When I was really feeling at my lowest, there was Chris, either a text or a call.
In a post on social media yesterday, Everett thanking Navratilova for dropping off some food, adding, "We're in this together." Through it all, Everett has been a fierce advocate for all women, using her platform to empower others to get tested. This morning, the tennis world and beyond once again rallying around Everett and her fighting spirit.
And Everett, who works for ESPN as a tennis analyst, will sit out next month's Australian Open, but she says she'll be ready for the rest of the Grand Slam season. So not slowing down and continuing to use her health story as a way to help and inspire others. Back to you.
All right, Liz, thank you so much.
Coming up, Google is looking back on 2023 with its annual Year in Search list.
So what and who were the biggest newsmakers? We are crunching the numbers next on Morning News Now.
We're back with some financial headlines. A group of investors is eyeing a potential multi-billion-dollar buyout of Macy's.
Yes, NBC's Savannah Hanau has that story for us, as well as some other money news. Hey, Savannah, good morning.
Savannah, Joe, good morning to you. That's right. So a group of investors has reportedly made an offer to take Macy's private for nearly $6 billion. Ark House Management and Brigade Capital are offering to buy the rest of the department store chain they don't already own. Macy's recently reported strong quarterly profits, but it's been under pressure from competitors for years, especially online rivals, which has taken a bite out of its market value. Cigna has reportedly dropped its pursuit of a tie-up with Humana after shareholders balked at a deal that would have created a roughly $140 billion health insurance giant. Sources say the companies couldn't come to an agreement on price and other terms. Cigna will instead shift focus to smaller acquisitions and buy back more of its stock from investors. And Apple has shut down third-party apps that enabled Android devices to use the iMessage service to communicate with iPhone users. Apple says it blocked techniques that exploit fake credentials in order to gain access to iMessage, posing a risk to security and privacy. The move comes after Beeper Mini, that's an app that enables iMessage on Android devices, stopped working. Apple has resisted calls for years to expand iMessage, which offers encrypted messaging between iOS devices to Android guys. That dreaded green bubble.
Exactly, the green bubble. Oh my
So
goodness.
true.
Sorry. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, well, believe it or not, 2024 is just 3 weeks away, and Google is looking back at the year that was by unveiling its annual Year in Search list.
It is a full rundown of the big newsmakers, actors, athletes, games, music, even memes.
Breaking it all down for us is Google Trends expert Sarah Armstrong. Sarah, thanks for joining us this morning on this one.
Thank you for having me.
Can't believe it's almost 2024. Let's jump right in. Who are the top people Googled? And then also, what were the top news stories? Let's start with those two categories.
Yeah, so in that people category, we see Damar Hamlin as number one. You might remember in the beginning of the year, he suffered cardiac arrest on the field. He's a safety football player. And all these folks tuned in. Millions of people watched him collapse on the field. So we saw a lot of searches. Is he okay? Is he getting better? And he made a full recovery.
Which is great to see, yeah. What were some of the big stories then?
Yeah, in this news category, we often see developing stories trending because people want to see the latest searches there. And so Israel-Gaza conflict is the top story there. We also saw a lot of search interest in the Titanic submarine, which really captured the nation's attention this year.
That was a huge thing as people were waiting to see what was going on with the search. All right, so people obviously use Google a lot because they want something explained to them that they don't maybe understand or they need a little help with. What were some of the top searches when it comes to that?
Yeah, we see a lot of these kind of scary shows, thriller TV here, where there's lots of twists and turns and people want to know more.
Oh, and you're like, what was that?
Exactly. The Menu is the top one. I still haven't seen it. It's a little scary.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah, that movie.
That was a confusing movie.
Did you see it?
I think I Googled that.
Did you?
Like, explain the Menu ending.
Right, exactly. We see lots of endings explained. Yeah. We also see some news stories here. So Title 42 makes the list. And then we also see, again, Israel-Gaza.
All right. So you weren't alone with the Menu there.
Yeah, I know. You haven't seen, neither of you have seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it. I'm too scared.
It's scary. I don't like it.
So there's a burger at the end. That's all I'll say. That makes it really confusing. You're like, what is going on?
Memes. What memes made the cut this year?
Okay, I think I'm chronically online, but some of these were new to me.
Yeah, I didn't know
not the top one. Have you seen the Kevin James meme?
Yes. Yeah, that is so good.
Okay, so he's kind of smirking. He's looking like this, and so people had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there it is. Oh, good. We have it. Yeah. So you'd be like me when fill in the blank.
Got
You're
it.
like making that kind of.
Yeah, I don't know if I can make that expression. So it's good. It's good we have him to do that for me.
What were some of the other meme ones?
Yeah, we saw one that was a folding chair meme, which had to do with this brawl in Alabama. So some of them were kind of topical, and then some of them were just sort of silly, like Kevin James. So it really runs the gambit there.
The Kevin James ones do really get me. Okay, the other thing I know, and I love what I know already is number one on this, is people search how often XYZ. Number one is just so good. Also kind of fits in the meme category, but tell us about this.
Exactly. We had to pull the how often category because it spiked so much this year. Do you have a guess as to what it is?
I know. I should, but I don't.
It's how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Oh, of course. I never do. And I never get it.
I don't get it either. And it's so funny that people were Googling that because I think a lot of people don't get it. They're like, what?
I mean, I know it's supposed to be like, some sort of heteronormative male thing, but I just don't. I don't know anyone who does.
But then some people have their own Roman empires, which became popular. Like I think about this thing all the time.
Yeah. Speaking of which, one of the biggest things that is definitely true for me that was kind of a replacement of that online was Taylor Swift, and it's really interesting to me that she's not on the list. But you can explain why.
Right. It's a good point. So we're looking at those trends that had the biggest increase from 2022 to 2023 to see what was unique about this year. But Taylor Swift is in the trends because she hit an all-time high this year. She also hit an all-time high last year, so she just keeps getting more and more popular, I guess.
It's so true.
What stands out to you just if you review this year? What was sort of the thing that made you go, how about that?
I mean, I think the variety of trends is really interesting. I love seeing how people come to Google to get a deeper interest in some of the news stories and really understand the why behind it. But then also pop culture. I love looking at the movie category. We see Barbie at the top, followed by Oppenheimer. So some of those big cultural events really make the list.
Yeah. Speaking of Travis Kelce. He made his way onto the list.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know who that was.
A cultural event for a lot of us.
He's number 3 on our people list.
That's pretty amazing.
So when we say who put who on the
Googled,
map, I don't know.
I know. Well, there you go. That might prove it.
There we go.
Sarah Armstrong, thank you very much. That was fun. And happy almost New Year.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, some breaking news out of Hollywood this morning.
Yeah, Golden Globe nominations just dropped. We will tell you which movies are getting the most noms, which have missed out. Stick around. That's next. Welcome back. Well, just as most teenagers are passing their driver's test, one teen just passed a totally different kind of test and became an attorney. When he was just 17, Peter Park from California became the youngest person to pass the state's bar exam. According to the Tulare County District Attorney's Office, he did it by enrolling in law school when he was 13 years old and completing his law studies alongside high school. Well, last week, the DA's office hired Park as a deputy district attorney. A spokeswoman at the office said, "We had to wait until he turned 18.
Wow, good for him.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, he
That's
looks
amazing.
older than his age,
He
so
does.
that helps.
Yeah, I was kind of like, is that really him?
It's not
But
like Doogie Howser or anything. All right, very cool. All right, the nominations for the first major award shows of the season are out. The 81st annual Golden Globes are back after going through a period of reckoning, and they have a more diverse voting body and some new categories.
And the summer's twin blockbusters, Barbie and Oppenheimer, maybe no surprise, are leading nominations with 9 and 8, respectively.
So to help us understand what's going on, let's bring in Jacqueline Coley, the awards editor at Rotten Tomatoes.
Good
so
morning.
let's go through the big movie categories. Barbenheimer, of course, is expected. Pretty dominant, 9 and 8 each. What other movies are getting some of the top nods?
Well, honestly, Past Lives was a big winner this morning. This is a Korean language film that was nominated for Best Drama, also Best Screenplay and Best Director. It was one of 3 foreign language films that were nominated in the drama category, so the Hollywood Foreign Press really leading into their international field, which is not something they've always done. So I would say Past Lives, as a debut film, this is a huge achievement for Celine Song.
Let's talk some specific categories on our screen right now. You can see Best Drama. Walk us through this.
Yeah, so Oppenheimer, this is obviously Christopher Nolan's epic, part of the Barbenheimer from this summer. Also Maestro with Bradley Cooper, both serving as director, writer, starring in it, sitting in 4 hours of makeup and learning how to conduct, playing Leonard Bernstein in that one. But I would say the one, if you haven't gotten a chance to see it, is Anatomy of a Fall. This is a good old-fashioned courtroom procedural. Stars Sandra Hüller, who was also in Zone of Interest, another heavy nominee this morning, and she's got a Best Actress nomination for Academy of the Fall.
And a reminder to folks, the Golden Globes are kind of fun because you have the comedy musical category, of which most of the movies are rarely comedies or musicals.
But this time
How about this year?
But this time we have both. We do have some, like, I would say there's questionable comedies. Matt Damon is back.
December.
Yeah, May, December. Questionable camp, but Air. Matt Damon last time was in controversy when he was nominated for The Martian. People saying that one was a comedy. Same thing this time with Air. But that was actually a surprising nomination here because it beat out an actual musical with The Color Purple. That was sort of the surprising one that was left off this morning. But Poor Things is a comedy. It also won the top prize at Venice. I think in this category, that is definitely going to be the one to beat. Even though I would say
So Barbie's in that category too, right?
Barbie's the one to beat with Poor Things. Yeah.
Wait, was Air about the sneakers?
Yes.
Air was about the sneakers.
Comedy?
Yeah.
It wasn't a comedy?
This is always the debate with the Golden
And same
Globes.
way, there was something else that was on that list that didn't look like
May,
a comedy to me.
December.
May, December, yeah. Wait, what?
May December is cringe comedy.
There
So
you
think
go.
like
Okay.
The Office,
Dark
that one.
This is that new Natalie Portman one, right?
Is the new Natalie Portman one.
Okay.
By the way,
my genre is like
this is always the
reader is
debate with
way
the
off.
Golden Globes.
Okay.
It's fun. All right, let's delve into the performers. We have Best Actor in a Drama, Best Actress. What do we have in the drama category?
Yeah, so for the Best Actress one, we also have Margot Robbie showing up again in this one. I would say Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple. That one is also very surprising. I will also add, too, with both drama and comedy, all of the winners were certified fresh on the tomato meter. And so I would say that, like, we're definitely making sure we're getting things that critics like. The one right now that has gotten a lot of buzz is Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, her work in that one was just absolutely incredible. But Priscilla, another certified fresh one. This, of course, tells the story of Elvis and Priscilla through the eyes of Priscilla Presley. The Elvis estate was a little bit wary about them making it, but today she wakes up a Golden Globe nominee.
So Elvis was the big winner last year in acting. Maybe it'll be Priscilla this year. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. And then wait, so do we have our Best Actor also? we have those ones?
Who do we have for Best Actor?
Best Actor in a comedy, we have Timothy Chalamet. We also, well, this is in the drama category, so we'll talk about these ones. Rustin, this is Coleman Domingo, who also is in Color Purple, plays Bayard Rustin. Produced by the Obamas, another certified fresh winner on that one. And the fact that it was nominated was not really a surprise, but I would say Barry Keoghan for Saltburn. That is actually one of the lower scored films that have been sort of on our list this time around. It's kind of controversial. People don't know what to think of it, but he wakes up with a really hard-fought Golden Globe nomination.
He was an Oscar nominee last year, too.
Yeah,
so,
very much so with the Banshees of Inisherin.
All right.
And we also have comedy actors. I'm being told we could pull those up right now as well. Let's see. Here we go.
This is the one with Timothy Chalamet. Dream Scenario. Folks have not seen this one. This is one of those weird A24 films, but he is so great in it. If you've seen the latter half of Nicolas Cage's career, this definitely falls into that one. But Beau is Not Afraid. Joaquin Phoenix, that's the big surprise this morning, as he has a film that was really divisive with critics. This is one only 62%, one of the lowest rated films to sort of be nominated this morning, but the Golden Globes really liked it. It is an out there performance, I will tell you. This is by Ari Aster. If anybody knows anything about Midsommar and Hereditary, you'll get in. This is probably his most outlandish feature film.
More than those?
More than those, so the Golden Globes decided to reward it.
We have to remember, we got 30 seconds here. Television, of course, is also part of the Golden Globes. What are biggest headlines from television?
I think the biggest headline, 1923 taking a nomination. That's the Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren. That one is a huge one for that one. I would also say on the limited series, the fact that we got Jury Duty. This was a nonfiction mix. This one, I loved Ronald. I mean, I think it's one of the most interesting concepts we've ever seen in a television show. Also,
so good.
The Last of Us. This was the big drama series of last year. That one was certified fresh at 96%. It's only second to Succession. Succession could sort of sweep if it manages to win again this year, as it's been winning every year previously.
Seems like a good chance, All
And
right.
Taylor Swift nominated.
Oh, yeah, we got Taylor Swift. Congrats to Taylor.
New category.
In a new category.
Jacqueline Coley, thank you so much. That'll do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.